the meantime, let me ask you, well, I'm going to give you half a sentence, and you have to give me the other half. Are you ready? Someone is ready in the third row. Excellent. Is everyone else ready? It's a very easy challenge. Are you willing? Yes. Okay. The sentence goes, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. That's right, isn't it? And why do I do this silly thing? Because there you have the title of our next chat. And why, you may wonder? Well, because we are going to interview the Chief Business Development Officer of Lemonade, which is the company that is completely disrupting the insurance sector, the insurance industry. And you may say, the insurance? No way. And I say, yes, believe it. I don't believe it. Insurance can be disrupted. Yes, and we're going to talk about it. And who's taking the challenge to interview this guy? Well, we have a partner at Softbank, and they're going to give us all the secrets. So please, let's welcome Jorge Espinel and Javier Villamizar. Welcome. Welcome.
Gracias.
Hola, Jorge.
Hola, Javier.
Thank you, Maria and the organization of South Summit for having us here. We're going to have a chat with one of SoftBank Group's portfolio companies, a company that is disrupting one of the most traditional and probably complicated industries around the world, the insurance space. Jorge comes to Lemonade from companies where he was very connected with consumer experiences. So he was at Time Warner, AOL, and most recently he was at Spotify. And this basically gives you an idea of what Lemonade is all about. It's not your traditional insurance company. It's not the company that is trying to sell you another policy that probably you don't need, but is a company that was built in order to provide, particularly new generations like everybody here, millennials, providing us with a way to protect our stuff, our things. The company has been in business for how long?
4 years.
4 years. Started in the US, have been growing, as you can imagine, because it's a complicated industry in the US. You have to go and develop this business state by state. Right now, they're present in how many states?
We're live in 28 states.
28, so still a lot of ground to cover. And the company has started to think about international expansion. This is something that we at SoftBank, every time that we invest in a company, we push the founders to think about. We believe that disruptive business models as Lemonade could have global footprint. And we have done it with many companies in the portfolio, both at Subbank Group level as well as the Vision Fund. Companies like Oyo, for example, that started in India and now is present in China, present in Europe, present in Latin America. Companies like Uber, many others that we have in the portfolio. We believe that a great way to accelerate growth is to go and redeploy or deploy these business models into new geographies. So you guys are coming into Europe now.
That's right.
So Jorge, tell us a little bit about how's that experience of living in the U.S., the commodity, the convenience of being in the U.S., doing business there, even though it's complicated because of the different regulations, but now coming into a probably more difficult geography. How was the decision to come into Europe, and how has been the process to get set up?
Okay. Well, thank you for having us here. Yeah, we launched about almost 6 weeks now in Germany. It's our first foray into Europe. The process was simple. We believe that there's an opportunity to create a global insurance brand that satisfies the consumer needs. And we believe that that's, by the way, is pretty unique because most insurance companies happen to be local and regional. So most of the big brands in the US don't travel to Europe and vice versa. But we feel that actually the needs of consumers, while they may vary culturally in certain aspects, they're pretty common, and that we can use the same infrastructure that we have in the US to build experiences globally. So we started in Germany, but we actually were licensed, we secure our license out of the Netherlands. It is the regulator there is both well respected and highly and supports innovation. And the way it actually works a little bit different in Europe is once you get licensed on one of the countries, you can passport in your business across the different countries in the European community. So we launched 6 weeks ago. We launched with 2 products. In Germany, it's called Contents, which is protect your stuff and liability. So if you cause harm to someone else, your insurance can cover that. And so far, so good.
So what is the differentiator? Why would you go as a consumer to Lemonade to buy insurance?
So the idea behind Lemonade was when you look at spending in general, insurance is usually the number 3 or number 4th category after housing and food. And we thought that there was no reason why there couldn't exist a company, an insurance company, that it should be loved. I mean, insurance is a need,
Nobody likes their insurance.
but right now it's totally unloved. No one likes their insurance companies, and we felt like, well, why is that? If it's something that is a great service, that it should help you. And that was the answer, is how do we make an insurance company that loves? And the answer was very simple. It's like, well, we'll design a company just for consumers. We'll design it built around what consumers want and need. And that starts from a different business model. So our business model doesn't have the traditional conflict of interest that you have with most insurance providers. So the business usually was established that the more claims I paid for you, the less profits I make. In this day and age, consumers don't really care whether your insurance company is doing well or not. They just care about, hey, I had a problem, I've been paying my insurance, I need my money, and I need it in a way that it's like, I need the money, I need the service, I need you to help me in my time of need. So we really have built an infrastructure, a business based on our business model, our systems, our technology, in which we actually focus not just on selling you the insurance, but actually on helping you when you're needed, both when you need customer service, as well as when you file your claims. And we use sophisticated artificial intelligence and machine learning to make the experience delightful. And how do we do that? We do things like 30% of our claims, for instance, are handled by our machines. And what that enables us to do is to
So when I go into the app, I'm not talking to a person.
No, usually it depends on what you're trying to do. But most of the functions, like 30% of the time, if you need customer service, like I need to add my spouse to the policy, that shouldn't require a call, right? If my house is on fire, then you need to talk to someone. But so what we use is automation when it's needed and needing to help you make things simple. If your phone is stolen, for instance, we can put money back in your bank account in a matter of seconds. So when we pay claims, it's like 3 to 8 seconds, money's in the bank. And people just think like that experience is magical. But we have an ability to really understand when you file the claim, whether you're being truthful, whether you have the right level of coverage, and what happens to you. And so that is the focus, and I think what differentiates above all the activity I think that is out there is really that we are obsessed with the consumer and satisfying those consumer needs. And so that is a need that happens also in Germany, that it will happen in other European countries and around the world. We saw it, we see it in Germany, we see it in the US, where there is that appetite, especially from the new generation of consumers who actually want to be, want to have products that are designed for them, products that can serve them, as opposed to necessarily serve the business itself.
So you're growing in geography, you're coming into Europe, you want to become a global brand. But right now you are focused on renters insurance, homeowner insurance, liability content. What is the opportunity into expanding into a broader insurance offering?
Yeah, I think we've always talked about these are entry points to build a relationship with the consumers. But we believe that there are probably other categories of insurance that are interesting from a consumer perspective. So probably initially we'll try to grow our two products, and frankly there is not only in terms of coverage, for instance, in the US, our homeowners product right now is really growing at a pretty good rate. So we'll focus on those products, but at the same time, we'll start exploring other products that are based on the needs of our customer base, on what we're seeing from them. And frankly, we see it even on social media that consumers said, I would love for Lemonade to have
Pets insurance.
pet insurance, life insurance, auto insurance sometimes, and auto is hard though.
How do you, when you expand your business model to include other verticals in the insurance space, how do you make the decision of, I'm going to do this by myself, or I'm going to probably partner with somebody in the back to provide those services? How do you make that decision?
It's a combination of elements. I think when we think about this aspect, there are some things that we feel there is. One of the big things is to be able to do all this, we actually need to be an insurance carrier, is the technical term. That means we need to carry the risk, so we're able to actually change the product itself. And in some cases, you may find the product available in the marketplace with someone who has the right sensibility and the right alignment, and probably we would partner as long as we are able to actually deploy the right level of service and customer interaction that we would like. In the cases that we don't, then we probably have to start from scratch.
So is the traditional insurer like the Geico in the US or the Allianz in Europe, is your friend, is your enemy, is your partner? How is the relationship with them? Because you're disrupting the industry, but at the same time, there are places where you have to work with them.
Yeah, no, we think the market is big enough, so we're not necessarily have to work with them. I think the market is evolving, and there are opportunities to always, that may create opportunities to partner, depending on how each provider looks at their portfolio of assets. If they are in the business of selling renters and homeowners insurance, and then they are the insurance company behind it, then it's very difficult to partner with us. But if they're not, then that may create opportunities for us to do interesting stuff.
What has been the learning about kind of hacking growth at the company, trying to grow using digital marketing, using digital channels? What is kind of something that you guys have learned that works, particularly in this space?
I think is being close to the consumer. I think one of the things that I'm most impressed with how we develop our product is how much we're using our customer service interactions and our claims interactions to actually evolve the product and the platform and the experiences, to be able to understand what are the right points of automation, what are the points on how consumers may need to be served differently. And we've designed it in a way that is almost, we're deploying features on the product on a daily basis. So it's really a product that is consistently evolving.
And you mentioned to me that even the customer service people that you have, people that is answering the phone, they become kind of providers of feedback to the product team in order to make it better.
That's right, yeah. So that we have channels open in which people are constantly sharing that feedback that the consumer is providing through those interactions, and understanding that there are some things in customer service that can be automated, and they're better automated, and it enables our people actually to have time to deal with some of the most complex interactions.
So you use one of our portfolio company solution to do that? To communicate within the enterprise?
Yes, we're big fans of Slack.
Okay, great.
Fans of Slack.
So maybe to finish, again, you're part of the big Softbank family. You're obviously one of the portfolio companies of the group. What has been the experience of being part of that group? What kind of, what value have you seen being part of that family that maybe is different
Yeah.
from other investors in your cap table?
Yeah, we've had great investors, but I think it's the support that Softbank has consistently provided to our company, particularly as we worked in a highly regulated environment, and where having a backer like Softbank enable us to actually demonstrate a certain degree of needed solvency, and have the right financial support to be able to do this. Because one of the most difficult things in going through a regulatory process is to be able to demonstrate that you are going to be around. Because the fear that the regulators have is, especially when you're dealing with a startup, is, you know, you may come and go, but they're going to stay here for years. That's why people don't dare to launch big insurance companies for many years. Most of the players in the US, for instance, and in Europe as well, they are over 70 years, and those are the young ones. I was at a launch yesterday, and all the folks sitting at the table were working for companies that are like 100 years old. So this is and having someone like Softbank who's been really supportive of our business, of our plans, of expansion has made a tremendous difference. As well as, it's obviously, and you know, you guys come with capabilities, so as we looked at expanding into new areas, new regions, you have capabilities that right now, given our size, we don't, and enable us to actually do a lot more than we can with the people that we have.
Great. So as you basically grow the business, you will need more capital. We were in a lunch yesterday with a few leaders of different industries, and one of the CEOs of a very important financial institution here in Spain said, "I will never invest money on a startup in a regulated industry." And he was very adamant, saying, "I will stay away from that." And he was obviously talking about, ride sharing, mobility, things that have created a lot of noise, particularly in this country. How do you see the challenge of raising money in this specific space where clearly regulation is going to be there, is going to stay there forever?
Yeah, no, I think to us, we see it as an asset and a capability. Working within a regulatory environment is very difficult. But frankly, the founders, one of the great decisions I think that they made was to try to find a license out of New York City, which is the toughest regulator in the United States. Because they believe if we are able to actually make it in New York, we'll make it anywhere. And that kind of has proven true for the company. And now I feel that we actually have a muscle in our ability to work with regulators and work within the framework that is provided today, but in that context actually innovate. And I think that something that is interesting from a regulatory perspective is they do want to enable the consumer to have better experiences.
Sure.
And that has enabled us to actually be innovative and get the support of the regulators as we go state by state in the US, as well as in
you
Europe.
crack the code on a regulated environment, it also becomes a mode for protecting
and we're happy to work with that within that framework. I think that actually makes the company have a unique capability because it is very difficult to build that muscle.
Great. Excellent. All right, thank you for the time. Thank you for the attention here. Keep enjoying this fantastic event, and appreciate the support, and we'll be available later on for questions from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you.